G'day, freedom lovers. Mark's back here from the North Queensland Freedom Network. And today with us, we have Des and Des, who are going to be telling us about the 12th of November and their presentation that they're bringing forth for the community. G'day, Des and Des. How are you?
Hey, Mark, how are you going, mate?
You shouldn't forget our name.
Shouldn't forget our names, no.
That's it.
It's almost like we were born in Tasmania, I'd guess.
Just speak for yourself.
Yeah, how you going, mate?
Yeah, good, Des. Good, Des.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no worries. So,
and we're both excavator operators.
okay.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know how it worked out, but anyway.
That is.
Yeah.
And you live relatively close together?
Yeah,
no, I'll say try and play miles apart.
Des here lives in Rockhampton, and I live down on the coast at Yeppoon.
Okay, cool. So, how did you guys get together? Give us a little bit of a rundown of what got you guys thinking in the first place.
Well, that started with me. Des was already active and had, a wealth of knowledge through his experience and knowing of David John Walter,
and other rabbit holes.
And other rabbit holes, yeah. So probably both of us have been down rabbit holes for many, many years, and have known that something's quite amiss. But how it started for me was that I was talking to a chap up here on the phone that's got his own principality, and I didn't really want to go down that road, but I had some questions. So I was asking questions, and he said, look, there is a reasonable couple of people up here with knowledge in Rockhampton area, and he put forward Des's name, and that was, I think, 2013 or something like that. It was about 2014. 2015, I think it might have been. About 2015. So it was about 7 years ago. So Des and I had discussions on the phone and about different things. And eventually what happened was there was a meeting had in the hall on the south side of Rockhampton.
You fill a bit of a gap, and then you went down to Brisbane.
Yeah, I went down. Yeah, that's right. I went back down to Brisbane for a little while, and then I came back living up north here, and just struck up the phone conversations again, and ended up meeting in a pub for a drink, discussing a matter that I had. And so Des rang me one day and said, "Look, we've got a meeting in the hall," and that was the very first meeting. 3 years ago, I think it was, when we started the group.
Every bit of that.
Yeah. So it started out as the Rockhampton Common Law Group, and we discovered quite quickly that unless you've got that matter with the Privy Council and taken then onto the House of Commons, you can't have your common law courts and you can't have your common law groups and such. But
you can still
have them,
but
you got no authorities. You have no way of carrying it through. So what we did was, in the end, we were the Central Queensland Anti-Corruption Study Group, because that's what we do. We study the corruption and we put forward the facts as we find them to be, and we don't really discuss rainbows, unicorns, and kumbaya. We're really we dig a lot deeper than that, and the forensic information that we've got's a lot deeper than what most people are prepared to go, and that's thanks to Des being in various court cases with David John Walter, who brought us the petition of right. So that's how it pretty much started for Des and I, was through that association.
Awesome. So you mentioned David Walter there and a petition of right. So for people who've got no clue, is there a quick, simple way to explain sort of who he is and what this petition is?
It takes about 6 or 7 hours.
It takes a long time, but I've broken this down because people have asked me a lot of this stuff. A petition of right is your only way at law to petition the Crown to let them know that there's a fox in the hen house. So we all know what the fox is and what the fox's name is. The only way you can do that is through what they call the 1627 right to petition the Crown.
Rightio.
Once you've done that, and you've done it through correct manner and form, which is your petition of right, which was not formulated by David John Walter, but it was forensically put together through the right way to make the claim. So you do your petition of right. Once you do your petition of right, it comes under the 1700 Settlement Act. Once you have done that, your matter is what they call classed on the King's Bench. So the matter must be addressed. So whether they do that in time is yet to be seen. But it's our only lawful way to remove the assumption that you come under their jurisdiction as an Australian citizen. And what people don't know is that the Australian Citizenship Act of 1948 is merely a duplication of the British Nationality and Citizenship Act of 1948. A bit like your birth certificate or your live birth record, there's a parallel going on, not just with throughout your life with your private side of your life and your birth certificate or your registered bond side of your life, but there's a parallel with dates in history, like the 1890 Partnership, for instance. There's an 1891 Partnership Act that was created by the Australian government.
Queensland government.
Or the Queensland government, correct.
So,
once people come to the meeting, they'll see what we mean about the parallels. So that's what's happening.
Yeah, well, we don't want to get too much into the complexities of it here today, which is more. So that's one of the exciting things that people can learn if they turn up on the 12th for that merely $35. And, you know, I can see a lot of people getting around there at the moment who are charging some pretty big numbers to come and sit down and be educated.
That's right.
No, we cannot. All we do is recover the cost of us getting up there. That's all we want. We just can't. David Walter has sacrificed a hell of a lot, his property, everything and everything like that. So we're very grateful for the knowledge he's given us, and hopefully the freedom will give back to us what we should have. And no, we can't. Our time is voluntary. And we do not charge anything for our time. We just, as you know, it's not cheap to travel or anything like that. And we've done quite a few speaking engagements now, and costs a fair bit.
It does cost a fair bit because most of the time they cover our flights, they cover our accommodation, they cover our food. And it ranges anywhere from $20 to $30 or $35. But with that also, the forensic, the stuff that we speak of is backed up by evidence, and we show people within that government system, in their files, and a lot of it people don't know exists.
For a
small fee,
for and a day of their time. That it buys back a lot of freedom.
It does. Another thing too that we do is I always ask people when they come to these events, and it's in the advertisement of the brochure up there, that if you come to the event, bring a USB stick, a good quality. Don't go buying something at the bloody Trash and Treasure or whatever. Buy a good verbatim or SanDisk or something like that. Buy a decent data stick, and I give people what I call a data dump. And that data dump has got thousands of bits of information in relation to this, and anything that you want to look up or anything you think you want to verify will be in that data dump. So that's free. Or people bring their sticks, and I spend as much time as I need to get right through them and offer people that data dump. But it's not just that. When we talk about this stuff, we actually show them in that session. Which is quite lengthy, and we're the first to admit to, well, the first section of it, we've got to go through a bit of a history lesson. That history lesson, a lot of people go, oh God, I've got to sit here through this, but it's people have got to bear with you, because if you don't have that history, you won't understand while we're standing in front of you.
You don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going.
That's exactly right. So, but what we do is through those sessions, we show them live how they can get to those government documents. We show them on the internet as we go exactly what we speak of. And if you want proof of it, it's right on their data systems, everything.
No, awesome. So what else would people need to bring other than an open mind and a USB stick?
A very open mind, a clear mind.
Yeah.
We ask them to, whatever you think you do know, just leave it outside in a box somewhere and just come back with absolute clear mind. Then they're the jury. You make your mind up, and then the thing is, prove it wrong.
If you want to have your common law collective, this is the place to have it, right? Because although you don't have the jurisdiction or the ways to implement the common law currently, This is the closest thing that you're going to get as to, number one, the reasons why. And if you want to get back to that, this is your only path.
Basically, if you want to have a common law collective way it's been done, we have to do the proper thing. There's no difference between yourselves and that the power or so-called power that you're fighting against. The only difference is how they implement they got might makes right. That's all.
Yeah, it always comes back to our brown shirt on the side of the road, doesn't it, Mark?
Yeah.
He's the one with the gun. He's the one with the taser. And he's the one that's going to be belligerent and say, mate, you will do this, or otherwise, guess where you're going? They force you into it.
Emphasizes why they were once upon a time called the Force.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the
police force was in a different world,
different jurisdiction. See, currently you have a police service, don't you?
We'll show you even in the thing of how they just changed a few little words around. That's how it's done.
Stylized stuff. They stylize things. You know?
What they've done, it's like when you walk up to a mirror in the morning. One there is a physical reality. The other side is just a reflection. They're in the reflection side because they are in the reflection, but it's not real. It's not, and it's all based on what people perceive to be.
That's very deep, Des. I've never sort of heard you go there.
Very philosophical.
Very philosophical.
Yeah.
That's a good analogy.
So we will show you that, hey, shit, you're standing in the bloody mirror. You're not that physical. Reality.
And to extend that, metaphor, maybe it's time for people to take that good hard look in the mirror at themselves.
Absolutely.
And ask what is real.
So when we educate these people of what they are, then we hand them the hammer and
smash
break that mirror.
Bye mirror on the wall.
That's right.
Gone.
That's it.
That mongrel bloody thing that's looking back at you and trying to attack you.
Yeah,
gone.
We asked people to have patience initially because no one likes a history lesson. People go, oh yeah, okay, the Dutch had the bottom half, and then Lieutenant Cook come here and done the rest, and so on and so forth.
Once you explain to them why the Victorian New South Wales border is where it is, they go, oh shit, we never thought of that. And we'll explain that.
Yep.
At this upcoming talk.
Why
that is.
So what other kinds of things? Well, we get an awesome history lesson, and I mean, I know maybe not everybody's interested in that, but I certainly am, because I know a lot of what we've been told is maybe not 100, a lie, so to speak, but it's, it's like a bit of Swiss cheese. There's a hell of a lot of holes in it.
That's right.
And our education
there's more holes than cheese too.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So we've been charged top dollar for a block of cheese. It's full of holes, and you guys are going to fill in that holes. So once we get that sort of understanding of where we were, we now know where we've come from. We can look into where we're going. What kind of things are we going to get there?
And that's why towards the end there, that's why we speak of the petition of right. It's one of the things. And it is we, the people, we have not moved. We're still there. It's the
Commonwealth's still there.
Everything. Yeah. We just the land's there, the people there. It's still there. It's just these criminal cabal has dragged everything sideways, and they created something completely. It's absolutely, you couldn't get them so more removed from each other. It's unreal. One's in maritime law, one's on the law of the land.
There'll be a real aha moment. Normally, we can actually see the shift in the people that are in the groups in these sessions. And the people that host them sit back and they watch these people, and they all have the same opinion. They get to a certain point where they go, oh, okay, yeah, we're having a history lesson. Then all of a sudden they start sitting forward in their chairs because they go, holy crap, this is far deeper than what I ever thought.
Yeah.
This is far, far deeper. Now, there's we all know that he who discovers the fraud is entitled to remedy. Well, what's the remedy? What's the out? Like, whether you like it or not, you're going to be working within this matrix for the rest of your life. So how do you soften the blow? How do we as a nation and as a people, how can we move forward to expose this? Well, it's through that right to petition the Crown.
And now coming up on the horizon, we hear a lot of the chatter on the alternative medias and everything like that. As we know, we heard of Nasara and everything like that, and what it's supposed to mean. I'd like to think it's coming, it's real, but I also want to take it very cautious, because basically if you make something so disdainable, so sour, and somebody comes along and say, here's something, people jump in feet first without even thinking first. And you got to show people. I'm not saying it's good or bad either way. I haven't seen any evidence of it yet, so I'm just sitting on the fence and watching like everybody else. I'm not discarding it.
Yep.
But I'm not also accepting it at the same time. So I'm very cautious. And even with this talk here, we'll show you what was lost back in the 13th of February 1966 to where we are now. And to the point, even if this system is supposed to come in and they're supposed to be taking out the Australian government, well, they can, because it's registered in the United States. It's subject to US civil law. But where does that leave the Commonwealth? It's still sitting there.
That's what people don't realise. The Australian government is
it's
held to US civil law, not Commonwealth law.
And then, right out, even if the Commonwealth is no good, we've got to go back pro novo. We've got to go back to the beginning, right to the beginning. And then if it's no good, then we change it. But we can't change it from the platform we're sitting in now. They can Trump can take away, if he's supposed to be taking away the Australian government through that thing, he can. He most certainly can, because that's where they're registered, but not the Commonwealth of Australia.
Yeah.
It's a completely different animal.
Some dots have just completely connected for me, because, I hear a lot from people when they're saying things like, Trump's going to save the world and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, do I believe this? Do I believe that? How does that? They're all the way in America. How does that work? And when you say, it was so obvious, it's been staring me in the face the whole time. Yeah. Australian government is a registered corporation, and, that's going to come up on the screen as, I edit this later.
Show you how to find it in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I found it. I know where it is. And there's lots of pieces, as you say, we dive down rabbit holes. And the one thing I like to say to people, while we're getting on that metaphorical sort of construct, is that, you can dive down rabbit holes. But Warren, and the tunnels go everywhere.
We'll show you, and people, and now, you heard the Norfolk Island and all that. Everybody rattled on about that.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll show them something completely different. And they go, shit, how did they do it?
Yeah.
I want to know how they done it too. But once we show it, and it's on
their
we'll
sites.
physically show you from their official government website. And we put it up there, and people just sit there looking at it, and they go, what?
How do they do it? People will not believe when we show them the lies, the absolute filthy lies and deception that has taken place. But it's that far hidden that people don't find this stuff.
Yeah.
But one of the things we say,
you can't
unknow it. Once you know this stuff, when we go through this talk and you walk out of there, yes, it's 5 or 6 hours, and we try and break it up with a couple of breaks and lunch and stuff like that. Once you've gone through it, you can't unlearn it. But one of the things I do say in the talk is that we know that people going down rabbit holes, like we've all done similar things, but we're not talking about a rabbit hole here. This is an open cut mine. Right?
Grand Canyon
It's way different.
Yeah.
Way different.
Awesome. And just again, to add a little bit of weight to what you guys are talking about, David, would take a brief little history on him and who he was and what sparked him, perhaps.
Well, he as I said, he was ex-Northern Territory. He was a police prosecutor and everything like that. So over the years, he could see what, through then you could see the changes through his career and everything. And even when he retired, then he started helping people with court cases. And he was knocking them from pillar to post, but he was at the same time exposing them. And because he was doing that, they went after him. Of because why? Well, you can't have somebody go to dismantle what a crazy little situation they've got. So they went right after him, right to even to bankrupting. But you can only be bankrupted through the federal, from the Commonwealth side of things, because the Commonwealth prints the money.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll have a sniveling little lawyer coming in and uses a court clerk to sign the orders for his bankruptcy. He allowed it to happen because he had.
Oh, I've lost you. Sorry for that interruption, boys and girls. So we were somewhere. You were saying that he was basically
He was helping people, and he was quite a thing. But more he went in, the more he found out how corrupt the whole system is. And with that, he found out what Peter Beattie done in creating Peter Beattie, my government. And when a solicitor and a politician tell you Peter Beattie, he says, my government, he's telling you the truth for a change.
Yeah.
Because it's literally his government. We'll show you. And we have got a copy of Queensland Constitution of 2001, the annotated version of Peter Beattie, my government.
It's his own private constitution.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And once you see it, you've got to think, and this is what they rely on. So Jeanette Young.
So when they refer to the Constitution, you know, when the government gets out, and says, they're talking about whichever one they decide to choose at the time.
Yes.
You'll be surprised. Tell the people to bring a few padded bandages, because the amount of times their jaws will hit the ground and their thing, that they'll come away bruised.
They need one of them bicycle helmets with the little chin clip.
You fair dinkum. But we show you the evidence. We show you where to find it. And they go, shit.
The time they're done, they need to bring along their helmets and crayons, because it's not going to be the same.
This is how. Look, we just, because we've had people say, "Oh, can you shorten it up?" And I said, "How can we?" That's what we do. We can't. We do our best. We try and but you've got to show you everything. But we had one of our members there. She sits through 8 of them now, or 9, 8, and every time she listened to it, because the first time you hear it is just information, extreme information overload. It's just they just go walking away with their heads spinning. And look, I was like that myself when I got first introduced to David. So I also have the transport business as well, cart livestock, and everything like that. And one of the customers was he's one of the founding members of this group, and he when I go down and do a load of cattle there, he'd be speaking to me about this stuff, and I'd walk away from there and go, "Holy fuck, what just hit me?" And go away and analyse it. Not supposed to swear, but anyway.
That's all right. This is the North Queensland Freedom Network, and posed the question.
The thing, but through him, he said, "Oh, well, you need to talk to this fella," and I did. Started talking, and then I went up to the court cases and everything, and that because I got an understanding of it and got a grasp on it, and it took me time to get it. But once you do get it,
you don't look at it. You don't look at things the same ever again.
Yeah, I think even those who have started with a bit of rabbit hole digging can already see that it's hard to go back once you start waking up. Once you start to see what's really going on, you can't turn it off. And I think one of the unfortunate things is a lot of people tend to start trying to yell and scream at everybody and, "Oh, you got to listen to me and wake up," and all this, but it's kind of everybody's own personal journey.
As one bloke said, how do you wake up people when they won't wake up? And I said, well, the only way if you can't wake up people who are woken up, who can't wake the people up, you can only drag them along in your wake.
Yes,
that's all you can do. I know a lot of people are like. And also, people are like old television sets. You've got to keep bashing it hard till they see the picture.
Yeah.
A lot of younger people don't get that because the old TV sets years ago, they used to turn them on and they used to have to warm up, and then they get the vertical hold. And
then you do the Christmas tree thing. Got me this bit here and this bit here.
Get the picture, and there's nothing like this going bang. And
Yeah.
So you do that to them once they break.
Yeah, you've got to help people focus, uncross their eyes and bloody up.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's what we're hoping to do. Look, we're not saying the solution is not 100% bloody absolute the silver bullet or anything like that, but it goes a long way to knowing where you are and to help you what you do. And
it's not just on your POR either. You can use this evidence, this forensic evidence, with you dealing with other agencies. You can utilise it. It helps you with your letter writing and things like that as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, people got issues
We've had people in New South Wales that have used their petition of right and gone into the courts, and they have had some success. So
yeah.
For some reason, for New South Wales, it seemed to work better than Queensland.
Well, that you gone straight into what I was going to ask next, which is, what kind of successes have you had with the knowledge that you've got?
Yeah. We've had it's bit by bit. We've having a success. We even got a identification card that we do up once you do your petition of right and everything like that. And we had two of our members there had it recognised into a magistrate court at Aitkenvale.
Yeah, and it's a port pass card, not a passport. It's a port pass British subject identification card. And just recently in Dolby, Emerald, sorry, yeah, Emerald, yeah, it's an Emerald. The magistrate or the administrator rather recognised it and accepted it as legitimate identification and recognised it as your travel card.
So
wow.
what we do, and it's a lot to do with seals. Now the seals on the Queensland, the Constitution Act of 1867 UK is the lion and the unicorn. Now you go into, and I'll explain to something in the talk, but you go into most of the courthouses, the judges are sitting under what? The lion and the unicorn. Once they put it, you point that out to them, and they're sitting on the land of the imperial crown, and you're sitting under that seal. They're subject to those laws because they're sitting under that seal.
But in actual fact, they're working for the seal of the Queensland Treasury, under the seal of the Queensland Treasury Corporation. So how can you serve two masters?
Yeah.
So that's why you got to ask them. So Your Honour, I noticed that you're sitting underneath the seal there. That's the same seal on the front of this building. Can I just verify that you're working under that seal?
It's the same seal.
They're not.
It's the same seal. It's on the Constitution Act 1867. They go.
Right. You've just dragged them into the correct jurisdiction. That's where your common law is. See?
Yeah.
That's where your common law is.
And I witnessed that myself with David. He proved that, and we'll show you. We'll bring that up, that stuff up to and show you, in that. People come to a realisation. These people are actually frauds.
When an administrator leaves the court.
Well, that's another thing.
And that's right. When an administrator leaves the court and can't make a judgment, but opens his chamber door and literally throws the files out onto the floor of the court,
no judgment being made.
No judgment being made because
if the judge if he can't make a judgment. Well. Anyway, we go through and explain that because and then they got no power at all. That's what Reggie said. None whatsoever.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like we've got some pretty awesome stuff in store for us here in Townsville on the 12th of November, and I hope we get a good turnout. I know I'll be there, taking as many notes as I can.
Yeah.
I think we might.
He's not bullying me not being great for any reason, eh?
We've got some good friends.
He tears his hair out, but he worrying about me, and I'm just got to sort out all the other stuff.
Yeah. No, we're looking forward to coming up there. We've got a lot of people that we know up there, and looking forward to seeing them all again. And it's a shame that we can't have dinner with them. Normally we go to a tavern afterwards, and quite a few people come. We have the chat, and then we have breakfast for people that want to come to it. But we're trying to keep the cost down, and we're trying to get. We did this
and
so that we get
time.
Utilising the time a lot better. And Townsville really asked for this before Christmas, so we're delivering what they want. And same with Brisbane, they want to get another one in. This will be the second one we did. We've done two on the Sunshine Coast, two in Brisbane. We've done Billa Wheeler, Chinchilla, Tin Can Bay, Mackay. so we're getting some momentum up, which is great.
Ah, this is awesome, mate. I'm really looking forward to it and love your work, especially your ability to keep things down in cost like that. Because, a lot of people are cashing in on this sort of stuff, and it's a bit of a shame. But, we do live in an economic based society. It's a bit hard. I myself, asked for the community to throw me a few bucks for all the work that I do putting these things together. And it's just a pure donation system that, I obtained from the Inner Light Meditation Center, where they call it energy philanthropy. I was like, well, I'm going to give to the community, and hopefully that energy gift comes back, and I found it comes in lots of ways. Sometimes somebody will drop you off a watermelon, somebody chucks a couple of Bitcoin here and there, and it's really good. And, it's an opportunity to remind people, if you're enjoying what we're doing here, please, do feel free to drop us a couple of bucks if you can afford it. Otherwise, spread the word, click like and share and all that stuff. I think
once people hear this information, at the end of the day, they come up there, they better need to give their firstborn away. Oh, geez,
we don't have bank accounts. We don't do that sort of stuff. But people, we've been lucky because I've got a Volkswagen, big old Volkswagen Crafter van, and we just fill it up with diesel and go and give the talks. And we went out to Billawheeler. We weren't expecting anything from them, but they passed a hat around and give us money for fuel. And went to Chinchilla, and the same thing happened there. They gave us a bit of money for fuel. And we drove that night. We drove from Chinchilla down to Brisbane. We had to pick up a car, towed a trailer down, and we went from Chinchilla to Brisbane, picked up the car at about 7:30 at night, and drove to Tin Can Bay that night. Got there at about 11 o'clock or something, 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night. It was about 10:30.
10:30.
And back up and get up the next morning and do another talk there in Tin Can Bay, and then drive back to Rockhampton. Weekend.
Back to work on Monday.
Yeah, back to work.
Wow. That's some serious dedication. I'm sure a lot of people appreciate it too, mate. But I think we better leave it there, because
it's no good being the only free slave on the plantation.
That's it. You got to have lots of friends come and hang out with you and have a good time, share a beer with you and all that sort of jazz.
Oh, yeah, we're in that.
We'll call the video here, guys, because like we were saying at the beginning, people's spans are a little bit short. But thank you very much for coming onto the North Queensland Freedom Network and telling us all about what you're doing. Hopefully people got something out of this and are like, hey, I want to come down on the 12th and check this out, because it sounds like some pretty
that'd be great. I'd love to see them there.
We don't want to blow our own trumpet, but they got to be there. They'll be there. Anyway, we'll leave it to them.
That's it.
They'll be the judge and jury on this one.
That's it. We'll let the people decide, give them the facts and let them figure it out, But yeah, thank you very much, guys. Stop the recording here. Thanks for watching, people.
All the best. Thank you, mate. Thanks for having us.
No worries. Cheers, guys.
See you, mate.